Hi, welcome to the AM News with me, Sweetie Abochi. Let's get right into it. The Ashanti Regional Anti-Galamsey Task Force is expanding its efforts to protect cocoa farms from illegal mining activities. Cocoa farmers in rural areas have been complaining about the distraction caused by these miners, with some farmers reportedly selling their farms to them willingly, while others are being forcefully taken over. Nana Yaojima has been engaged in interest groups in the cocoa and mining sectors and has filed this report.
In 2021, the Ghana Cocoa Board said 19,000 hectares of farmland had been destroyed in key cocoa growing areas like the Western and Ashanti regions. Years on, the phenomenon has continued, negatively affecting the country's cocoa sector. Aside from the takeover of farmlands, water sources used in the cultivation of cocoa and other purposes on farms are destroyed by the activity. Amecha, a cocoa farmer at Bebiani, speaks of the challenges. She says the illegal miners are forcefully taking over our cocoa farms. They refuse to pay us for that. Our water bodies are also being destroyed. According to the Ashanti Region Anti-Galamsey Task Force, complaints about the activities of illegal miners in cocoa growing areas are often received. Alongside the fight to rid river bodies and forest reserves of illegal miners, the team has resorted to take interest in cocoa growing areas. National Security Liaison in Ashanti Region, Captain Retired John Kwame Jabari, speaks of plans to rescue the farmers.
Cocoa is the future of Ghana, so we'll not allow Galamsey people to bring down the production of cocoa. So when we went to the place that we went to, apart from then destroying the river body, a number of cocoa farms have been brought down by these menace in those areas over there. So that prompted us to come to the place, and most of the time it's not our own intel. It is the citizens over there who come and give us the information that these people are destroying our cocoa farms. CEO
of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abbey, has expressed interest in joining the cause.
Well, we've been cooperating with the National Security Council, so it is something that we're doing. It is something which is dear to His Excellency the President.
Meanwhile, the concerned Small-Scale Miners Association wants the task force to stay within forceful takeovers. President Michael Kwadwo insists some cocoa farms were legally acquired for mining purposes.
We need to understand that mining comes with distraction. And in so doing, if the person has his license, and even if it's a cocoa farm, and the farmers are willing to give it out, I think the law permits them to mine within that core.
For Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
The Electoral Commission says it is fully prepared for today's district-level elections in Nkoranza North and South. But with women making up just 4% of the candidates, the polls are raising fresh concerns about gender exclusion in the Bono East region. Our regional correspondent, Anna Sabit, tells us more.
It begins in the year 2015 when anger over the collapse of TKM Microfinance, a financial lifeline for thousands in the Bono East enclave, sparked chaos. Residents who lost savings overnight threatened Electoral Commission officials with traditional juju to block the district assembly elections. The EC withdrew, postponing votes for 2 years. That delay became a pattern. Dr. Gabriel Deyabua is the Bono East Regional Director for the Electoral Commission.
Something happened in the past that did not allow, or that made it impossible for Electoral Commission to conduct elections in these two districts. So they had their turn 2 years after the main elections. And since the tenure of office of the assembly members and unit committee members is 4 years, it means that after every 4 years, they need to have the elections. And that would mean that they will have the election or their turn 2 years apart. That's how come today, in 2025, we are having these elections in Nkoranza North and South.
The commission, according to Dr. Gabriel Day, is however ready for this important exercise with all materials deployed.
As I'm speaking to you now, all materials we need have been sent to the district. The officials have been recruited and trained for the job. And we are also doing publicity as we are doing now. So it means that we are prepared for tomorrow's elections.
Yet, a glaring gap remains. Only 4% of candidates in the assembly elections are women. In a region where women anchor families and economies, their absence on the ballot, according to Dr. Gabriel Yeboah, is worrying.
For assembly election, 187 people are contesting. And out of this, only 7 are females. And when you look at the figures, I think they constitute just about 4%. So 96% of them are male and only 4% are female. In all, I would say that women participation in this election is not encouraging, looking at the fact that we have 51% of the population being female.
Security remains top priority. After threats of violence in past elections and with the Techiman South electoral violence still in mind, enough security personnel have been deployed to keep the process peaceful.
I've been liaising up with the regional commander of police and other security heads, all of whom have assured me that they are going to make sure that they provide the needed security for us to have peaceful elections. And I believe that based on that assurance and based on what I've seen them doing, I believe that we are going to have peaceful elections.
Tomorrow's vote is more than just an election. It is another opportunity for the people to choose the next batch of community representatives for the next 4 years. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Nkranza.
Let's move on. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has raised concern over the growing encroachment on heritage sites and government lands in the central region. He cited towns like Elmina and Cape Coast, warning that unplanned settlements are threatening Ghana's cultural legacy. The minister stressed the need for a balanced use of land, drawing parallels with the ongoing fight against illegal mining and destruction of the historical landmarks. Abigail Eselunkruma has more in this report.
At the inauguration of the Central Regional Lands Commission, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, blamed unchecked development and competing land use as the disruption of the balance between tourism, agriculture and culture in the central region, emphasizing that the conversion of agricultural lands for other uses threatens food security.
The central region is a beacon of culture, tourism and agriculture. From the bustling fishing communities along our coast to the fertile farmlands of the hinterlands, land is a lifeline of livelihoods here. However, rapid urbanization, competing land uses, and unchecked development threaten this balance. Encroachment on public lands, including wetlands, heritage sites, and government reservations is a growing concern. Cape Coast, Elmina, and other historic towns face mounting pressure from unplanned settlements, risking irreversible damage to our cultural and environmental heritage. Similarly, the conversion of agricultural lands for speculative ventures undermines food security and our traditional livelihoods. Litigation over land ownership remains rife in this region, particularly between stools, families, and private developers. A notable example is the dispute surrounding prime lands in areas like Kaswa, Winneba, where overlapping claims deter investment and also fuel conflicts. The government is committed to resolving these issues, but we need the Commission's proactive leadership and diligence to enforce lawful ownership and deter land grab activities.
To the Central Regional Minister, Eko Payini-Driamwa Ochri, activities of the Lands Commission should not be a means of illicit gains.
This kind of work, land issues, linked with chieftaincy issues, and Nananum have had to come with a lot of petitions. My brothers and sisters who have opportunity to support activities of Lands Commission in Central Region, it's not going to be an easy task, but let's get ready. You can do it. It must not be seen as an avenue for enrichment. No, you cannot. Some of us think that the law must be made in such a way that, including the chairman, where unnecessary infractions are committed, apart from holding on to the Land Commission as an institution, an individual who perpetuates such infraction must also be held accountable individually, so that anytime anybody will be taking decisions concerning land and land issues in Central Region, that person will have to revisit the note.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
In other stories, the Techiman Krobo Nursing and Midwifery Training College has stunned the nation, not just by producing some of Ghana's brightest health graduates this year, but by doing so amid crumbling roads, overcrowded classrooms, and a severe lack of resources. In the following story, my colleague Anna Sabit brings you the inspiring journey of students and staff who turned challenges into triumphs, earning the title of Best Nursing Institution at the 2024 KNUST graduation. But as Principal Frederick Anaba warns, their dream of becoming a true center of excellence hangs in the balance unless urgent support is provided. Here's more.
Behind the gleaming success of the Techiman Krobo Nursing and Midwifery Training College lies a road less traveled, quite literally. This institution, crowned the best at this year's national graduation, is battling obstacles that would deter even the most determined. Yet here, triumph and tenacity share the same classroom. Just days ago, this humble college in Ghana's Bono East region stunned the nation. Outperforming elite institutions, its students scored the highest distinctions at the 2024 KNUST graduation.
I will judge the overall best school and overall best students. That's we have 100% passes and 70 distinctions.
But the journey to this podium was paved with great and crumbling infrastructure. Frederick Anaba is the principal of the school.
Infrastructure-wise, about 80% of the students were outside campus. So when I was handed over the baton, that's 2022, I decided to work on them. That first has to do with the GET fund.
Inside this campus, determination drowns out discomfort. Classrooms built for 30 squeeze in 80. Hostels are so overstretched that many students rent rooms miles away. And when the rain comes, classroom activities comes to a halt because the college's access roads, riddled with craters, are a metaphor for their struggle.
Another one has to do with the classroom. When we were picking, the ministry gave us a quota of almost 700, but we couldn't even go half of the quota because we don't have the adequate infrastructure.
Digital learning here is a game of patience. With only a handful of computers serving hundreds of students, tech literacy is a race against time. The school's small lab size means its examination center has been moved to Sunyani, exposing the students to risks during exams.
Another serious challenge now we have is what our exam center has been taken away from us because NMC saw that our lab cannot accommodate up to 150 students. Then the ITC center, it is a lot of inconvenience to carry students all over to Sunyani. It's risky and a lot of things.
District Chief Executive of the area, Adam Kobna Johnson, a happy figure at the successes chalked, promises to work with the Member of Parliament who doubles as the Trade Minister to fast-track projects here.
Look around. You see the deficit in the infrastructure, yet they've been able to do so well to achieve this feat. And so we are going to work together with the MP. We are going back to where we left and make sure that we complete this infrastructure to enhance academic excellence.
Apia Kojo James is the overall best graduating student. He has a message for colleague students.
To my fellow students, a little advice I have for you. Please, with all due respect, if you focus on your own success, your achievement is short-lived. Start every day with a new hope. Leave bad memories behind and have the faith for a better tomorrow. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord your God and depart from evil.
two persons whose selfless contributions led to the establishment of the school, the then Member of Parliament and Deputy Education Minister Alex Treme and Krobohene and Chidomhene of the Techiman Traditional Council, both received citations of honor. They both admonished for more support to make the school a center of excellence.
Honorable eba be kan ho abom na ya san develop school ye enti say na honorable kan no hostel facility a mufri ase a aka ho no mo boy baby biara aka no mo nkohwe kohwe akira kwan na mo famra na bibi bia ese ekoso bia enkoso.
A beacon of hope indeed, but as these stars of Krobo rise, the question remains, will their infrastructure rise with them? For now, these students march forward on shaky roads towards steady futures. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Krobo.
Now, the Ghana Maritime Authority has called on the Parliament Select Committee on Roads and Transport to help strengthen regulations that can unlock the full potential of the maritime sector as part of broader efforts to create jobs and boost economic activity along Ghana's coast. Let's tell you more in this report.
Parliamentary Select Committee on Roads and Transport held a crucial meeting with the Ghana Maritime Authority to review its operations, identify challenges, assess successes, and discuss areas for improvement. The purpose of the meeting was to reassure the Maritime Authority of Parliament's commitment to supporting their development and regulatory efforts. The Ghana Maritime Authority expressed that the timing of the meeting was perfect as it provided a platform to advocate for a passage of some key legislative measures that are crucial to the authority's operation. Dr. Kamal Din Ali highlighted the authority's key expectations from Parliament, particularly in areas that require legislative support and regulatory adjustments. He stressed that a collaborative approach is necessary to effectively enhance maritime services, drive economic growth, and create employment opportunities.
What though has been the case is that we in civil aviation have not developed that strong relationship of working. So I was drawing his attention to the fact that this is one area that we have to build together in terms of our SOPs, our daily communication, and everything that we will do, so that henceforth we will see where we really interrelate and how we will functionally work together. I believe that Ghana Maritime Authority is very new. It has done quite a lot. It's growing every day.
In response, Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Roads and Transport, Isaac J. Mensah, assured the Ghana Maritime Authority of Parliament's full support in advancing its growth agenda.
They have requested for support issues relating to regularizing their details in terms of some bills that have to come to Parliament. We've committed ourselves to cooperate with them. We have agreed in principle to collaborate, to cooperate, to realign with them on many, many issues, all because of the goodness that we want Ghana to be. The President's agenda, resetting Ghana, is on course. And I think when we all saw it, the team here are prepared to move together to set the agenda right.
Well, that's it for the news proper. Let's get into business update now with Benjamin Akakbu.
We call this Business Updates. My name is Benjamin Akakbu. Welcome aboard, and we start with the currency market for today. Let's get into the stories now. And there are projections that the Ghana cedi could be under some pressure in the coming months. This was after the United States reached a trade deal with China to slash import tariffs, a move expected to strengthen the US dollar and undermine recent gains by the Ghana cedi. There's more in this report.
One of the reasons for the cedi's strong recovery and even appreciation in recent times is the weakening of the US dollar. This is due to the fact that more businesses and countries were moving away from dollar-backed assets due to the current uncertainty. However, due to the deal that US had reached with China, when it comes to freezing the recent tariffs hikes, is accounting for the dollar's strong recovery today. The price of crude oil, which was getting into the $50 range earlier this month, is now trading around $64 a barrel. Gold prices have also started dropping. All these are due to the recent development between US and China as they reach some favorable trade deals. Standard & Poor's, in their latest report on Ghana, for instance, is also warning that the local currency could come under some pressure for the second quarter of this year.
In our second story, the Ghana Mine Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress has called on the government to adopt a more liberal approach in the mining sector rather than focus solely on local content. According to the union, while local content is important, an overemphasis on it could deter potential investors and hinder the growth of the sector. They argue that a balanced approach that takes into account both local content and foreign investment would be more beneficial for the country's economy. Abdul Momin Bana is the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union of the TUC, and he has been speaking to Joy Business.
As a trade union leader, what I'm interested in is an investment climate or environment where there's a lot more predictability, things are stable, I can guarantee a job, I can guarantee incomes for my members, general conditions of service is not an issue for me and by extension members. But if you have a situation where Ghanaian businesses get into the mining space, they are unable to meet their short-term obligations, i.e. payment of salaries, payment of social security or pensions. I mean, virtually it appears that the conditions of service of these workers have been reversed, relative to when they were with the foreign multinational businesses. As a trade union leader, I certainly will not opt for a local business because why would I see fire and walk into it? I wouldn't do that. And so I expect that even though there can be some kind of an affirmative action towards deepening Ghanaian participation in the space, it has to be watched carefully because if we don't watch it carefully and we proceed in that direction, we might end up getting our fingers bent. Workers' conditions will be reversed. Revenues that come to government by way of corporate income taxes, royalties, payee, is going to dip. And I can assure you that over the period, mining businesses that some way, somehow have found their way into the hands of Ghanaian businesses have seen a sharp decline in terms of not just payee, not just incomes that go to workers, but also even the payment of their obligations owed to GRA, owed to SNIT, and quite a number of regulatory institutions. And it is quite a sorry narrative that I'm not too proud of, and it is the reason why we expect a more liberal environment until such time that government itself pays a lot more attention, is able to streamline the system, get private businesses to set up, comply with corporate governance rules. We are able to make available to private businesses cheap capital. Not until we get to that point, I can assure you that it will be a difficult place to go.
Well, for just how much are some of the world's major commodities trading this morning? We tell you in our commodities market. It's a Duku. It's a wrap for the business update segment of the AM News. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Thanks, Ben, for bringing us business updates. And that wraps up the AM News Bulletin on the show. Let's get ready for our news review segment. Our guests will join us in the studio in a bit, and we will be right back on your screens. Don't go away.